on and welcome to the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show, an amazing video podcast with sports stars, entertainment celebrities, and other great guests, combining one host who has no legs, one host who lives in Duluth, Minnesota, and another host who seems to never be on the show. But now, on to the show with Troy, Dave, and maybe even Will.
No, Will, tonight, but you do have Dave Stevens, and I am happy to be here. Hello, coming to you from the home offices here in Bristol, Connecticut, and let me bring in my co-host, of course, in Duluth, Minnesota, just like the title said, Troy, and no accidents this week for either one of us, right, Troy?
Yeah, it's been a good week. So
it is a good week. It is a lot of good weeks when you and I aren't getting hit up by people crashing into us, DoorDash people, anybody like that. But we've got a great show for you tonight. And our guest tonight is no stranger to the NFL. In fact, he played most of his career for the Dallas Cowboys. He was a draft pick out of Georgia when he started his career in the NFL for the Cowboys. I'm talking about Quincy Carter, who did play for the Cowboys. He also played for the Jets, came out of the University of Georgia, led his team to a high school title. And Quincy Carter is joining us as we take a look at some of those beautiful pictures of you in those Cowboy blue and whites. Quincy, thanks for taking the time to join us. And how are you doing?
I'm doing great. And thanks for having me, too.
What is when you look at these pictures of you and Parcells and stuff like that? What's the first thing that comes to mind when you see some of these?
The great times that I had in Dallas. Dallas is a very unique place to play. Our fan base is relentless. Everything that goes along with being a Dallas Cowboy and having that star on your helmet is some special times. But, my teammates also, we had some great times together. We bonded, on and off the field. And a lot of those guys I still talk to this day. So a lot of great memories. Now, one of them pictures, I'm wondering, I think we had on the Thanksgiving uniform. I'm sitting there looking at it. I'm like, is my eyes closed trying to throw the ball? Like, what is happening? No wonder years where my completion percentage stayed.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Wait a minute. Is my eyes closed? Yeah, so but man, a lot of great memories. A lot of them. And
how about that coach right there, Parcells? What was he like? Because it seemed like he was I worked with him at ESPN for a couple of years, and he was a curmudgeonly old gentleman, but it was his way. As he said, he handled the groceries and he handled the cooks and he handled everything. So what was that experience like with Coach Parcells? And don't worry, he doesn't watch our show.
Oh, man. Well, listen, I talk to him anyway still to this day. It was an experience that I would want any football player to have because you had a coach that demanded excellence from you on a daily basis. It's almost like God prepared me to have a coach like Bill Parcells. And I do not want to diminish his excellence as a coach and a Hall of Famer as a coach too, but I had a high school coach that was relentless, also demanded excellence, demanded everything you had in you every day, and that's in the classroom and also on the field. So it's almost, and I want to mention his name too, Buck Godfrey, Hall of Famer here in Georgia.
And you were Georgia Player of the Year. I mean, he must have helped you get to that point.
Absolutely. But two hard-nosed guys, they wanted to do things their way. And so to, Coach Parcells and having the pleasure to play for him, a lot of the things he did, standing behind us, doing offense or whatever, and just, bearing down on you every day because he wanted – the best out of you. So it just, it was great for me. I was becoming a man at that time, and I needed somebody like Bill Parcells.
Recently, you're just it was just announced October 21st here, right down the road in Atlanta. You're going to be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Talk about that honor and what that means to you.
It means the world to me. We play some great football here in Georgia. And then, going in with the likes of Mike Bobo and DJ Shockley, actually Jamal Lewis, who's a really good friend of mine. It means the world to us. Matter of fact, Jamal Lewis beat us my senior year. We had the only loss that year. We joke about that all the time. But it means a lot because I know the brand of football coming out of this state. And so for you to be mentioned among the greats, with all the great football players that came out of the state of Georgia, it means a lot.
And what was
ahead,
that
Jim.
like for you when you get drafted by the Cowboys and Troy Aikman? Suddenly, Troy Aikman's gone, and the expectations is for we need our quarterback to come in and be the same guy. I mean, what was that like? I know you were a good quarterback, and everybody had those expectations, but I mean, just think it's not like you went to a small market in Green Bay or somebody. The limelight was on you, the baton was handed to you, and I just wonder what that pressure was like for you.
Well, like I said, you never can compare anything to exactly what atmosphere you're walking into being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. But, it's almost like God prepared me for that moment also because, I had to go to the University of Georgia and fight for my life to win that starting job as a freshman. And so, playing some big time college football in the SEC, playing on the road of the likes of Tennessee and that raucous atmosphere up in over there in Baton Rouge with LSU. So I played some big time college football, and so man, I spelled nothing in my DNA but wanting to win. Having to fight for my job in high school and fight for my job in college. That's just a competitor that I am. Not to toot my horn too much, but I just wanted to win, uh, win the job first, and then go out and win. To me, honestly, it was just the next step in the journey in the journey of my life. And so, man, I'm an ultimate competitor, and I wanted to go out and do my best on a daily basis and give my team a chance to win on Sundays, and that was, my main focus.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that you originally committed to Georgia Tech, which is right in your backyard. Talk about how the process went and how you decided not to go to Georgia Tech and just go to the University of Georgia instead.
Well, I had a lot of God-given talent coming up as a young man, and one of my loves was baseball, and Georgia Tech afforded me the opportunity to play some big-time college baseball in the ACC, and also to play with a lot of my teammates that I played with a well-known travel ball organization called the East Cobb Astros. So. And then, I had the opportunity to go play for Ralph Friedgen, and I thought that was a great opportunity for me. He was a pro-style guy. I was going to be right here in the city of Atlanta, so it was perfect for me. But I went to, I got drafted in baseball in the second round, and some like to say I took the money and ran. I kind of like to say I did too, but I made that decision to go play baseball, but I really loved it. But I knew playing quarterback, I wanted to just go ahead and play baseball and not try to add to both of them. But my love for football never left me. Unfortunately for Georgia Tech, but fortunate, they had a guy by the name of Joe Hamilton who entrenched himself as a starter while I was playing baseball. And I didn't think I was going to fare out too well, to be honest with you, trying to beat out a guy who, had a couple good seasons at Georgia Tech. So, I'm a homer. And so my next decision that I had to make was going to the University of Georgia. Although the University of Georgia was wanting to, coming out of high school, maybe Auburn and Florida State in that mix a little bit too. But we were going to be on probation, and I wasn't too confident how long that would last. So I made the decision to go to Georgia Tech. But, like I said, Joe Hamilton entrenched himself down there at Georgia Tech, and my next best decision being a homer was the University of Georgia.
Yeah, speaking of that, you were talked about earlier, drafted by the Cubs, 52nd overall, really high in MLB draft. What made you decide to ultimately choose football over baseball?
Honestly, this hurts me when someone asks me this. But that everyday grind in baseball was just a little different for me. And then, like I said, my love for football never left me. So I'm playing a baseball game in August, and my body is on a clock of, man, should we be in somebody's training camp right now, getting ready for the season? And so I think those two factors were the main one. But my competitive side don't like to admit that everyday grind of baseball is different. It's different. And playing in the minor leagues, going 0 for 4, striking out 4 times, and then hopping on a bus, traveling through the Midwest, at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, getting to your hotel 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, then you got to do it all over again. It's a different grind. It really is.
Well, Quincy, you were still in that era where there were guys like DJ Dozier who played for the Vikings and then went to the Mets and had a cup of coffee. And, we still had there were Bo Jacksons and Deons. And I don't know now in this era where money means so much, we may never see those two sport athletes. We've seen, people that Russell Wilsons and guys that are going to go, okay, the money is there in the NFL. It's shorter, less wear and tear. I mean, if you had this to do over again, do you think maybe baseball would have been the way for you?
Oh, man, I don't think so. Because my love for football, football is baseball, first off, I think is a individual sport with a team goal. But football, you need all 11, special teams, offense, and defense, and I love that process. I fell in love with the camaraderie of my teammates, and just every aspect of grinding together for ultimate team goal. So I don't think that'll change. I love my baseball days. I had a lot of fun, traveling from 13 to 17, playing some good, minor league baseball also. But my love for football, probably would have overruled it no matter what.
Well, we're glad it turned out the best for you, and I know you're still in it, coaching and doing all that. And you're going to stick with us for another go around here. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk to Quincy about the things he's overcome, beating the odds, and where he is now and where we are now. And, of course, Troy, I've got to talk about how we like to dress. And, of course, you like to dress and you like to look good and you like to feel good. And, well, you can only do that if you're wearing Fresh Clean Threads. That's right. Our friends at Fresh Clean Threads who have been with us for almost a year now. They look good. They feel good. They got the polos. They've got all kinds of great shirts. And, of course, if you go to the website, you type in the GSS show code, you get 20% off. That's not too bad. And I know Troy and I, we wear almost all the same clothes anyway, except, when we're out on the town at our fancy parties and things like that. But go to freshcleanthreads.com, type in that show code, GSS show, and you, of course, can get 20% off your order. And one more thing before we bring Quincy back on, Troy, I also want to thank our new sponsors for Betalytics. Of course, this helps anybody that is a bettor now that there's all the websites that you can make your bets, but to parlay those into those interesting bets about who hits on a Tuesday and what does this guy do against the Celtics and all those kind of things. Troy, this is more your world than mine, but I really do like that Betalytics we'll give 25% off for you guys so you can save money to make money. Right, Troy?
Yeah, they break it down into colors, grades, and all kinds of stuff. So it tells you what's a good bet and what's a bad bet. With now everybody betting, trying to win money on 5, 6, 7 thing parlays, this is a great tool to help you do that.
Yeah. So all the fantasy people that are starting up for football and everything, go to BET Analytics. That's Betalytics. Use the show code GSS Show for 25% off. And if you guys start hitting it big, don't forget who sent you there, right? They should tip the waiter. We should get something like that. And as we bring Quincy in, I got to ask you off the top of your head, you were on the cusp of when fantasy football really started. And now, from your perspective, how crazy has this world been where now, there's so much more importance, it seems like, about fantasy teams as opposed to the people that are out there on the field?
Yeah, it's crazy. I've got a lot of friends that's into it. I haven't actually indulged into it. I take that back. I've played maybe a couple weekends where you get to pick your top 2 receivers. You pick a running back. You pick a defense. Your quarterback, of course. So I've kind of indulged in that, a couple weeks maybe. But it's crazy. I don't have the patience to wait and pick and choose teams and swap out the players when they get hurt. It's a lot. But I see how much everybody loves it, though.
Speaking of NFL, I want to ask you what your favorite memory was playing.
Oh, wow. I can't. Well, wow, that's tough. Because individually, I gotta say, before I put it before a team goal, which is kind of hurting my spirit a little bit by saying it, but throwing the winning touchdown pass with about 7-8 seconds on the clock against Carolina on my birthday was a pretty special moment. But clinching that berth in the playoffs against the Giants in 2003 is up there too. So I got to give you a 1A1B answer on that.
Quincy, how different would your game be today? Because you could run, you could move around, and they were still in those modes. We want you in the pocket, and only if it's a last second. So how much more fun do you think you would have had being able to have a little more leg use?
Well, they're spreading them out, definitely, in this day of age of offenses. But I'll be honest with you, probably one of my biggest secrets of playing is I wanted to prove that I can throw in that pocket, So it's a different age now, and a lot of guys with mobility and can throw the football and get a lot more opportunities now. But I wanted to prove that I can throw in the pocket. The biggest, I think, asset of playing today is that the DBs can barely touch the receivers. Now, that's would have been one of the things I probably would have been most proud of if I was playing to this day because, we had the Ty Laws of the world, the Deions. They put them hands on you. Some of them receivers were locked up. But shoot, you can't even, touch these guys after 5 yards. So throw those, handles have so that's the part that I think I would have most benefited from.
I want to ask you about your quarterback school, QB 17. How much joy does it bring you going back and helping all these kids?
Oh man, it's everything to me. Because I've had some great coaches along the way. My high school coach, Steve Davenport, playing for Coach Donnan, Mike Bobo, really helping me out in coaching. He was a GA, just really getting started with his coaching career. Todd Donnan, his son. Then you move over, to a guy like David Lee, who's, tutored a lot of QBs around the league. And then my guy, Pep Hamilton, took a year off this year, but really, has developed a lot of guys in the NFL too. And so to give that knowledge back to them is special, because I got a lot of guys that I named, but finding that edge to push a guy, or that technique, or maybe that drill to push a guy over the edge, and really have him understand what we're trying to accomplish, is really special, because I've had so many guys to help me along the way to really understand the quarterback position, and then to pass all that knowledge on is pretty cool, man. I love working with kids. I really do.
And Quincy, I mean, you've wear your heart on your sleeve, and I know you've had the ups and downs. Can you talk about what got you to that lowest point, and how long it took you to get to where you are today as the man you've become? I mean, I know we talk about those ups and downs, and you've overcome it, and it's amazing that you were able to do it given what you had thrown at you, the expectations, the pressures, and everything. So just kind of give us a synopsis of that low point and when you knew you could make this comeback.
Yeah, well, I've had a couple low points, but I made some bad decisions, around the age of 15, 16, tinkering around with marijuana, and that's what started me going down the wrong path. Then going off to baseball, being alone for the first time, becoming a young man at 18 years old, that weed habit started to pick up. And then the alcohol started to pick up. Then as we get into our 20s a little bit more, then I'm starting to mess around with, X. And so when the Cowboys, adamantly told me, hey, well, if you, continue to do some of the things that you're doing, which, there were some open conversations behind closed doors, Geary told me straight up that, that he was going to cut me. And so consequently, that's what happened. And then when that door got shut on me, and that fatal, August 4th, 5:36 in the morning meeting happened, and I got let go, then that's when, my whole world crashed on me. And now the weed and alcohol is not good enough anymore. And so now I'm on the harder drugs, and, cocaine, and just a life of just really some really low points. And so, from 2000, I'll say, when my addiction really hit flight, 2006, basically to 2019, my life looked like going in and out of rehab, playing some arena ball, but going to rehab and not really, surrendering to the process of the 12 steps, surrendering to the process of building a relationship with God, and letting God take complete control of my life. So my life looked like a roller coaster, for half of 13 years. And, I did some coaching and some things, in that time period, but I wasn't who God called me to be. So up until 2019, July 22nd, when I went into rehab and really put both feet in the steps. And at the time, I thought I did so much bad that God still wasn't on my side. I never disowned God, but that's how bad life was for me. But I'll never forget sitting on the outside little porch deal with, I'm up 5:36 in the morning, doing my step work and everything. And I just looked up to God and asked him, I said, God, if you still with me, just show me. So, in that, there was 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 very low points. But I just decided that, I was going to put 2 feet in finally and work these steps and let God take complete control of my life. And it's been the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life.
And that's great. And, now you're going into the Georgia Hall of Fame. I mean, good things happening for you, my friend. Troy?
Yeah, I mean, just talk about some of the mentors and stuff, and then you helping working with BRC Recovery, and kind of like what you're currently doing with them.
Well, actually, we're gonna have to cut this out because I can't even lie about that. We'll cut it out later. But I actually just got let go about a week or so ago, so I can't even speak on that. But I get into my mentors. I met Thomas Hollywood. I'm glad it's not live, by the way. But I met Thomas Hollywood Henderson here, 2007. Actually, my mom got me in touch with him, and that was, actually that was my second time I went to rehab down in Florida. But he's been on my side since 2007, haven't wavered. As a matter of fact, I made that phone call to him on July 22nd, and he sent me to BRC that same day. And then I've got, countless others. My high school coach, Steve Davenport and Buck Godfrey, Anthony Williams, my late sponsor, because Hollywood's my grand sponsor, but Skip Walker was my sponsor in Austin. He just passed here a year ago. But yeah, man, I've had a lot of, my counselor, Tim May, Marsha Stone, who owned BRC at the time. But I've had a lot of great people in my life to really talk to really, for me to get some mentorship from, and just really have some deep conversations about how I'm really feeling. And I'm just blessed, man, to have all these people in my life. And still, to this day, those same set of people that I just named, I can call them up at any time when I'm struggling and talk to them about anything. And I'm just so grateful for that.
Quincy, before we let you go, what advice would you give to the current player, knowing all the things that were thrown at you, which are probably even more magnitude now with social media and cell phones and everything like that? I mean, what advice do you give these kids out there that have the talent that you had, that you don't want them to go take those paths that you had to overcome so much to come back from?
Yeah. The biggest advice, besides all the hard work and, and discipline that, you've got to put into to make it to the NFL, but the mental health aspect of really talking to somebody. I'm so glad to this day now that you got so many guys that's advocating for, mental health, but the things that we go through that we don't talk about, that relationship with your mom or your dad that, that's just not sitting right with your spirit, that traumatic event that might have happened in your life. And I'm talking about some sexual things that, you need to discuss and get out, but just, eating you up inside. And then the biggest advice, I would, say on the substance abuse aspect of it, listen, fellas, weed is not legal. Weed is not, has no place in where we're trying to be. I can look back on some games or something and knew how, I was maneuvering on the field, that I did some things during the week that didn't allow me, to put out my best effort on Saturdays or Sundays. It has no place for you. Any mind altering, drug or substance or whatever that's going to hold you back from your ultimate dreams. I mean, like literally, I had the world in my hands, and literally, I'm sitting here trying to do something and hide a habit that was ultimately just chopping at the bits, getting ready to take my whole career away from me. But I didn't think that it'll ever go down like that. I didn't think that it'll ever get caught. So just know everything you do in the dark is going to come to light. And we've got this great opportunity as an athlete and to really, accomplish all our dreams and goals. And you're going to let a plant or any substance, these pills out here or whatever, take that away from you. what's going on inside. Talk about it. Get it out. You don't have to go down this route.
Well, you're one of only 8 quarterbacks in franchise history to throw for over 3,000 yards. And that must have been in the training camp you were with Vinny Testaverde, Drew Henson, another baseball player. And then that third string guy, this Tony Romo guy, he's never going to make it in this league, right?
How about that? I won't get into that. I won't get into that because I know I'm a competitor, so I won't go. You can't ask me questions like this. But he worked. And Tony had me peeking out our weight room had all these glass, windows or whatever. You can kind of peek out on the field. And I swear, sometimes I'd be in that weight room and I'd be like, that dude will not stop working. So Tony worked for everything he got, man. Much respect.
Okay, well, before we let you go, I just want to ask you, got anything to promote, where people can find you? And, your story is great. So maybe you can get you out there do some motivational speaking. Dave does that here and there. So let everybody know where to find you and anything you got going on you want to promote real quick.
Absolutely. I'm training quarterbacks yearly. I've just got my foundation off the ground. Our mission is to raise money and help kids get into some of these high price camps that they have. That's so important now because the 4 and 5 star guys and the transfer portal guys, are taking a lot of scholarships. So these camps, the Under Armours, the Elite 11s, they're so important to get to. So we want to send out a lot of kids to these camps. We got a scholarship banquet we're going to be hosting every year. And then I do motivational speaking too. So you can find me at the Quincy Carter Foundation.com. That's the Quincy Carter Foundation.com.
All right, Quincy. Well, thanks for taking some time and being so candid, and nothing but praise for you, my friend. And I hope things continue to go well for you. Best of luck to you and your son. And, we'll check in with you down the road and see how the quarterback thing is going for you.
Let's do it again.
All right. For Quincy, Troy, you got anything to say?
Yeah, Quincy, I really appreciate you taking time on your busy day. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, and we appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you. And again, continue to follow us on all social media platforms. And don't forget, you can watch us on your home TV. And now, we're on Roku. You don't believe me? Well, go out and get this thing. It hooks up to your TV really easily. You can watch us and see us, and you can see this amazing show that we just did. So for Troy, myself, and Quincy, thank you. Take care and have a great night.
Thank you for tuning in to the Geary, Stein and Stevens Show. Follow us on social media, watch us on yourhometv.com, or now we're on Roku. Download it and watch us. And thanks for tuning in. Until next time, America.